Have you ever given any thought to how prepared you really are to be a vet at all levels? I want to give you an example from money coaching. Have you ever heard about someone who won the lottery? Like they had no money or just a normal amount of money, and then they won the Euro Lotto or something and had like 73 million euros or $100 million or whatever. And how quick they actually lose that money. Like everybody I've heard about ever who won the lottery, who weren't already rich, over a period of 3 to 5 years, end up wasting all their money, like losing it all. And some of them actually end up with less money than before because they just don't know how to do with it. In money coaching, this is a well-known phenomenon, and it's based on our capacity for one thing. If our mindset and our nervous system is not set up for a big amount of money, then because we don't know how to do with it, we default to our comfort, the evil we know, which is not having any money or have just having an average amount of money. If you're not prepared mentally, if you don't know how to, obviously intellectually, if you don't know how to manage your money, but also if your nervous system is not used to see that amount of zeros in black in your bank account, you will default to what you were used to before, and it will happen completely unconsciously. It's not like these new rich people wanting to lose their money. It's not like they did it on purpose, but they actually end up doing it just because that's what they're used to and they can't handle this amount of money. It is very well known. And if not, then look it up. And in VetNet, something similar happens because our brain gets to a very high level of knowledge when we are in vet school. We work so much on our knowledge, which means there's a part of our brain that grows, which is the bit of it with the intellectual knowledge, right? Like the Krebs cycle and all the anatomy, physiology, everything, right? And also, of course, our bodies start getting used to a certain amount of doing surgeries. So there's a very, very big part of our brains that suddenly go to a very high level of knowledge, but the rest of us actually don't follow through everything else that's needed, which is, emotional resilience, being able to listen to people, being able to interact with people from all layers of society, people, all sorts of problem, people not having money, procedures that cost a lot of money. How do I explain it to this person? Being really busy and you not being able to control your time. Because as a student, yes, we are very busy. Yes, we do not stop studying. Yes, we struggle to take time off, but it is still somehow within our control, right? You can decide to do an all-nighter studying, or you can decide to, I'm going to study as much as I can this weekend, but it's somehow still within your control. Once you're in the work zone, you might be stuck somewhere for 12, 14 hours, and it is, as long as you're there, you just feel like you're completely out of control and you have no autonomy of your time and what you have to do, no? You're not used to interacting with your peers. You're not used to having to suddenly lead a team because once you are a veterinary surgeon, you actually become a team leader, whether you want to or not, of the receptionist, the veterinary care assistant, and the nurses or techs. There's the whole being able to do a phone call and speaking to someone over the phone and delivering bad news or delivering complicated diagnostics or explanations. There's the whole dealing with euthanasias, which of course is very easy to learn. It's easy to place, well, I won't say it's easy to place a catheter the first time you try it, but okay, we get used to it and we do it. And you place a catheter and you inject and then you listen to the heartbeat and then you prepare the body. That is not hard. And we learn it very quickly in vet school, right? But everything around it, preparing for that conversation, preparing for the owners not being prepared to let this pet go and somehow make them see the light, right? The times where the owners don't want to put to sleep when we really want them to put the animals to sleep, or the times where they do want to put it to sleep and we don't think it should put to sleep. There's so many layers where you need an incredible mental and emotional capacity where your brain is 100% prepared, although you don't think so. When you come out intellectually and knowledge, you have enough. You definitely have enough knowledge when you come out of vet school. There's a lot of stuff you don't know. There's a lot of stuff you will never know. There's a lot of stuff I will never know in my now way more than 20 years into this. But it doesn't matter because that If you're resourceful, you can look it up. You can text your mates. You can say, come back tomorrow if it's not an emergency, and so on. It doesn't matter if you don't have all the knowledge. You have enough. Your knowledge is enough, and your brain has turned into this giant library, a giant Netflix where you can just go and download anything you need for any disease or any condition that comes in. It might take longer, or if you're not completely up to date and you just quickly have to Google it. No, who doesn't? That part of your brain is ready. But is your emotional life prepared? Is your mental capacity, your capacity to be able to prioritize, to lead, to delegate, to realize what's important and what's not important, your capacity for setting boundaries so you don't burn yourself out and you're able to say no to some, yes to others, and when to do it. All that is not grown in vet school. All that is something you have to build slowly when you come out of vet school. But because we have this big Netflix on knowledge in our brains, then we think that the rest should just be there. And it's not. Someone wrote the other day commented on a post I done on LinkedIn on about how I came back from my burnout and my main 5 points and so on. And she said she came out of vet school, and because she had some experience doing something, I can't remember what it was, but when she came out, like within the first year, she already expected of herself that she should be a fully perfect clinician, which is crazy, right? But the reason we think we have that capacity is because our library, our Netflix in our brain, knowledge of veterinary stuff is so full that we automatically think that the rest should be fine as well. And it isn't. So just like the new millionaire that has just landed, a lottery ticket that brought all these millions on them, that is like just one little aspect of their life that's now suddenly up here, but the rest of it has not caught up. And then instead of then doing the money mindset, learning to feel safe with a lot of money, learning how to manage your money, speaking with other people that have a lot of money, knowing how to do this, it's just quicker and easier to just spend the fucking money and come back to where you were. And this is not something people are aware of. Now, we as vets are not aware either of the lack we have in all the things I just mentioned, veterinary wise. And obviously, you can't take your Netflix library of vet stuff in your brain and just like empty it out so you can come down to where you actually are at a mental and emotional level. No, we have to build up the mental and the emotional level so we can get up to the level of knowledge. And that takes time. And it takes being aware of it, first of all, which 99% of people are not. So you have to be aware of it. I come out and I'm going to have this huge lag of everything apart from my knowledge. And this is something I want to build, and this is something I want to take time off to build, and this is something I'm going to be conscious about. So you have to be aware of it, you have to be conscious about it, and then you need to decide that you are going to take some time and some mental energy and some emotional energy into this. You've got to want to do this. The problem is that just like the millions for the Euro Lotto winner are like this shimmering gold over here, we're just like, this is so exciting. We are a bit the same with the veterinary knowledge. We just want to take our library of knowledge and just apply it as quick as possible and use it. And I still remember how excited I was when I came out my first year of vet school. I just wanted to do everything. And I was so excited when there was a thing coming in that I hadn't seen before, but I knew what it was from my studies. Or I thought I knew what it was. I also assumed a lot of shit when I came out, which wasn't correct. I guess we all do. But we have to have that excitement and obviously keep it. But you also need to realize that you can't just race towards all this to using this knowledge. You have to build your other capacities. You have to build your nervous system, because in vet school, unless you have like a nasty professor that would shout at you when you did something wrong, having an owner screaming down the phone or screaming in your face, like, oh my God, you killed my dog, or, are you even a real vet? What are you even doing? You don't know. Having that, like, your nervous system is going to take such a hit when that happens for the first time in the real life, and you feel so overwhelmed and so shocked, and your whole nervous system is on fire, and you don't even know what's going on inside you, and you just think, oh, it's because they're shouting at me, but it's this whole unbalance of what you thought you knew and then everything you actually don't know yet. And that's why so you need to be aware that you lack all this shit, and you need to make a conscious decision towards working towards it, and you need to somehow find the time to do this. So I know when we come out, we are really, really excited to go in full time and not stop and just do this, not just work and get through as many cases as we can, learn to do surgeries as quick as possible. But if we don't do this job firsthand, if we don't do this work of filling our capacity at all the other levels, then like the gap between what you know and everything your body is up and brain has not caught up with, that is that lack, that gap between the two is gonna burn you out, because it's gonna feel like it's gonna just gonna feel so much. It's gonna feel like so much because you're not actually prepared at other levels than just your knowledge. No matter like one class you have in vet school talking about this, no matter the challenges you have in vet school, it does not prepare you for the real life. And I love in Denmark how a lot of the students, we were actually, I think me and another guy were the youngest, starting at 19. So we did like primary school and then we did high school. So we then finished high school and then what you call A levels, wherever you are, and then you go to uni, right? But a lot of my peers that came in had already done other careers. They had already done something within agriculture. They had worked, they had traveled. So they had another level of maturity. Even so, I think 25, 30% dropped out that first year when they realized how hard vet school was. And I think a lot of people go into vet school still very young, still very unexperienced in life, and then think that as soon as you just accumulate the knowledge, just like a lottery winner will get all the money, when then their life is sold, that's fine. As long as I know everything, it'll be fine. And spoiler alert, of course, we never learn everything. Never, ever. We're just not capable. So, what do you want to say with this rant is one, if you are listening to this, or if you know someone who is studying to become a vet, someone who has just finished, or someone really new, like then send it to them. Or if you are one, then start right now, start learning the tools. I have a free PDF that should be linked to the show notes. I want you to download and I want you to look at it and just to get some sort of overview of the perspective, um the tools, the different issues you're going to have to deal with, and how you can practice, and how you can at least know, at least gain awareness of these things, right? And then start deciding what you want to work on first. And if you're a listener that has been in vet med for a while, like most of my clients have been in this for like 10, 20 years, just like I have, and you still feel that lack, then I would say the same. Download the free PDF, binge my episodes, my podcast episodes if you have to. Sign up for my coaching, the course, whatever, or anywhere where you can learn these tools. But be aware of this gap you have between your knowledge and all the other capacities that you kind of need to lift up to get to this level. Be aware of it and decide, once you're aware of it, what you want to work on. Do you want to work on your nervous system? Do you need to learn how to, feel your feelings and let them wash through you? For example, how do I cope with shame? Because we're always going to feel shame at some point when we mess up, right? We make a mistake and we think we shouldn't have made that mistake, and brain is straight there telling you you're an idiot, you shouldn't have made that mistake. And the feeling that will often come up, also surrounded by guilt, inadequacy, failure, lack of confidence, and all that, a huge feeling that's going to come up is shame. And shame, you need to know how to process it. You need to know to sit with it, to let it wash over you like a cold, horrible shower, and let it wash through you and say, this is shame, and I'm feeling this because this has happened, and I'm thinking this, and the other people did that, and then I'm making this mean, whatever it is, have that awareness around your feelings. So maybe that's what you need to work on. Or maybe you need to work on detangling all the thoughts that are coming in your brain. The 60 to 80,000 thoughts that are just being jammed into your brain every day by your brain. Then knowing how to untangle that, knowing what's going on. So maybe you need to look at journaling. Maybe you need to sit every day and just either you could do like a voice note work when you on your way home, going home from work, or maybe you journal in the morning, or maybe you journal just before going to sleep so you can let go of all the stuff that's jammed into your brain, loosen that up a bit. Or maybe when you wake up in the morning, you feel so negative and you feel anxious and you don't know how to shake that. Well, apart from doing the feeling exercise and and learning how to feel this and process the feeling, then maybe you need to work on some gratitude. Maybe you need to have a little journal next to your bed or in your sofa so you can make yourself your cup of tea or coffee in the morning and just take 5 minutes to say, well, I'm grateful. I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. Even though this career is hard, I still love that I'm working in what I studied and what I always wanted to do. And I'm grateful for taking care of myself. I'm grateful for having this opportunity. I'm grateful that I've got food. I'm grateful for my partner. I'm grateful for my healthy kids or my healthy cat. There's so many tools, and I want you to be open to them. I want you to be aware of the gap you have. And then I want you to make decisions towards how you can close that gap so you can feel much more healthy and more robust and not being like the lottery winner that's like actively trying to burn themselves out in the sense that they're trying to lose all the money. And as a vet, since we can't lose all our knowledge, then we're trying to just work like crazies to just miraculously somehow feel good. And we think feeling good will be by doing more and learning more. And no, I'm telling you, the gap you need to work on is your nervous system, is your capacity for gaining perspective, prioritizing, setting boundaries, all those things I teach. So if you haven't downloaded the free PDF yet, I strongly encourage you to do that. That way you also come on my email list where I then send whatever inspiring stuff I write like this to just kind of nudge you and keep, helping you grow and helping you close this gap. And if I have any offers, I'll send them to you as well. So to download the free PDF, it's in the show notes. Start this journey. If you know someone who is even thinking of becoming a vet or already in vet school, share it with them. If you think there's someone else that might need it, share it. And if you want to help support the podcast, then don't forget to please write a review. I would love that. For some reason, I don't know, like it's like even the most popular podcasts I follow, they have like very few reviews. So I don't know, it's something we don't do. And again, if there's something you would like me to address in the podcast or something that resonated with you, whatever, then there's a little type form you can fill out. Also, the link for this is in the show notes. I have like super long show notes with all the shit I'm offering on the stuff I talk about. But just find it, click on it, and then say, what would you like me to address? What would you like me to talk about? What haven't I addressed that you think could be really important for you and all the other people in the vet industry to talk about and gain perspective on? I hope this was helpful. Please share and with anyone you think could benefit from it. I think a lot of us, I think all of us probably. And I love you and have a great rest of the week. Bye.